Thank you for tuning into our seller interview series. Up today, we've got a SaaS business for sale in the live streaming niche. Created in August 2016, this business makes $9,856 per month in net profit, and the listing number for the business is 44815. We do these interviews to give potential buyers more information about both the seller and the businesses they're looking to purchase. We hope these insights are helpful for you in making a buying decision. We've got the seller with us today to go through the business and cover everything from niche selection to traffic and monetization. Ryan, thank you for coming on here today. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Thank you. How about you?
I'm doing okay, just fine. And I really do appreciate you taking the time. Before we dive into the questions we have, because this is a very interesting business. Before we get to that, though, I want to go ahead and run through a little quick summary of the business. Again, the business was built in August of 2016, has a monthly revenue of $11,750, expenses of $1,894 to make for net profit of $9,856, which is generated on a 7-month average. Included in the sale of this business are the primary domain and all site content and files, and source code and database information, an email list of approximately 2,000, and all social media accounts. Ryan, can you tell us a little bit about your background in building and running online businesses?
I've been developing websites for about 20 years now. I self-taught myself when I was a teenager, and I've always liked the idea of websites or making some kind of an online game or something, and I really enjoyed coding with PHP and just continued to work with it over the years and continue learning and just kind of making my way doing that.
So this is, as you and I were speaking about before, this is an interesting business to me because I actually have some experience with the platform. Do you have experience with the platform? Is that why you settled upon building this business?
Yeah, I actually do. I had quite a lot of experience with the platform quite a few years ago. I was not huge, but I was one of the bigger members of the platform, I guess you could say. And I kind of quit doing that and started focusing more on actually creating websites because I was making more money, through coding sites and running them. But I had many years of that and then many years of coding other websites that were related to this platform as well. So yeah, probably the last 5 or 6 years of my experience is mainly focused on this platform.
When speaking about growing this business, were there any bumps in the road or was it all pretty smooth sailing in the last 2 years?
I would say it was probably about 98% smooth sailing. There was a few little hiccups, but those were mostly kind of just on my end. It wasn't necessarily the business itself. Just kind of like figuring out taxes and stuff like that was a little hurdle for me, but again, that wasn't anything to directly do with the site itself.
Mm-hmm.
The site's been pretty easy going, though. It's fairly simple.
With it being fairly simple and easy going to run, why have you decided to sell it today?
I'm just really looking. I live in the city at the moment, and me and my fiance and kids, we're just really wanting to get out of the city and get a nice house out in the country and have some money to live on for a little bit while I work on future endeavors.
So looking back, I noticed that the business has seen a lot of growth in the last 7 months even, and that's why it's done off a 7-month average, because where the business is now is not actually reflected in a 12-month average as you've seen this massive growth. So what has been the cause of this massive growth?
I believe a lot of it is just the maturity of the site, like the age of it, and the trustworthiness of the site is really getting out there. And I believe earlier this year it exploded when a couple of big forums out there on the internet, some people posted links on there and got some good, chat going on the forums about it, and it drove a lot of traffic. And so I think over the last year or so, people, it's really starting to get its foothold out into the internet and be known as a trustworthy site that people can use and enjoy.
One of the first things that I thought when I saw this business is, I thought to myself, is this breaking the terms of service of this platform that you are kind of working with, or not with, but, in reference to? So my question is, I know you claim it's not. So have you hit any issues with the terms of service? Have there been any complaints or anything like that?
No, there hasn't. I haven't been contacted by the platform company at all whatsoever since the launch of the site back in 2016. I did note that a couple of the platform employees have actually been to my website and visited it. So I haven't heard anything, like I said, from the platform itself. So I assume that with them seeing it, it's been on their radar at some point. They've checked it out. They've deemed it as not a threat or anything bad that they should, take action against. And in fact, we actually use that platform's official API. So even if they wanted to, they could easily shut down the API, which would shut down the site. But we haven't had any issues like that whatsoever.
And of the services you provide, how does the business make money?
The business makes money primarily by people who use the platform will come to the website to buy the services from us. So they pay us a portion of money and then they get the service in return. And then there's other people who use the platform as well. And those people are the ones that complete the service for the first group of people. So the people who are completing the service end up actually making some money in return for doing the service. And we're just kind of like the middleman that takes a little bit.
And as I said before, I do have a little experience with this platform. And for anyone listening, I absolutely see the market here. I know why people would want to use the service on both ends. And I mean, it seems legit to me. Now, the question I have, Ryan, and this kind of goes back to asking about the terms of service, it's totally fine and fair because you make a point to not use any botted accounts, any fake accounts, correct?
Correct. Everything done through our website is done by real people. So yeah, typically the platform, they crack down websites with fake accounts and stuff like that. But everything on my site is legit from actual people.
Mm-hmm. And potential risk, which we'll touch on risks later, but since we're here, a potential risk could be someone coming in pretending to be a fake person and then they have a bunch of fake accounts. What would be the course of action? How do you prevent that?
Pretty much I have a script that'll kind of check against like users like IP addresses, for example, and see if someone has like 20 different accounts that they're trying to abuse the system with. And then typically for that, I just ban them from the website.
With the business as it currently stands, what do you do in terms of marketing for the business? As I mentioned before, you have the social media accounts with it. Is that all you do?
Yeah, I don't really do too much marketing at the moment. Maybe like an Instagram post a week, but that's about it. I have Twitter integrated with the website. And so every time like a new service is being requested, it'll like automatically post to our Twitter account. That's kind of about the only marketing I really do.
Do you have to spend any time on the business outside of marketing?
Yeah, I probably spend maybe like 5 minutes a day responding to emails and answering questions there. And then maybe another 5 to 10 minutes doing some payouts that I need to do on PayPal, or maybe inserting a couple things into the database that I need to do real quick. But typically, I would say 10 minutes or less a day.
Ryan, if someone looking at this business was interested, but they, unlike you, do not have that developer background, how easy would it be for them to run this business?
That's kind of a tough one. The entire website from the ground up was coded by me. I don't use any sort of framework or any kind of like platform to build off of. So everything's coded from scratch. So I would ideally say that the person would need a little bit of experience in PHP to be able to really dive into the code and change things. But I've been doing it for a long time, so I like to think that my code is fairly easy to follow. There's no commenting or anything in it, but I believe a lot of it, you could look at it and kind of tell what that chunk of code does.
What do you feel are some of the major opportunities for growth that a new owner could focus on?
One of the main things that I've even been considering doing a couple months ago was integrating some extra payment gateways so that the users can, pay directly on the website with credit card or have some kind of like a Bitcoin automatic processor on there. Because at the moment, it only accepts PayPal, and that's all automatic. And then I do have a place where people can pay with Bitcoin, but I have to manually do those transactions. So I would say that adding like more automatic payments would be good. And then there's a couple other small features that I believe would help out just kind of quality of life type things.
And when you pass off the business, are you willing to walk the new owner through all of those ideas that you have for future features and quality of life things that you're thinking about?
Yeah, yep, that would be no problem.
Other than the potential risk with the platform coming at you for violating terms of service, although, again, you are not, so you've kind of mitigated that risk with the practices that you have. But aside from that, do you feel like there are any potential risks associated with this business that a buyer should be aware of?
I don't really foresee any other risks other than what you just mentioned. I mean, every website has its risks. Anything could happen in the future. But as far as it goes, as long as that doesn't happen, I think it's going pretty good. It seems to be increasing month after month. So I don't really see any issues arising.
What advice would you have to someone who wanted to start their own online business? What's something you wish you had known when you got started with this one?
Wow, that's a tough one. I would just say kind of just go for it. Just coming up with the ideas is the hardest part. But like coming up with, the ideas for what type of a website you want to make. Do you want it to do this? Do you want it to do that? Just coming up with those ideas. But then once you get it, just do it. I can't even count how many websites I've made over the years. Way too many. But if I would have gave up, I wouldn't have the one that I have now that has totally made all those previous ones worth it. So just, try to come up with ideas, go for it. If it doesn't work out, it's not the end of the world. Just move on to the next project and hope that you can succeed with that one.
Ryan, would you commit to a non-compete?
Yes.
And how much support are you willing to offer a new owner during the transition period?
I'm willing to pretty much support with whatever they need within reason.
Are you open to discussing something like an earnout?
Yes, I would be willing to discuss that.
Ryan, thank you. I do have another question for you, but before we get to that, I want to go ahead and run through that quick summary of the business again. The business was built in August of 2016, has a monthly revenue of $11,750, expenses of $1,894 to make for net profit of $9,856, which is generated on a 7-month average. Included in the sale of this business are the primary domain and all site source code and database information, email list of approximately 2,000, and all social media accounts. Ryan, I can tell you when I look at this, and I want to reiterate again for anyone listening, that as someone who knows the niche and the space that you're in, there is a need for this. There is a market for this, I should say. And I see value. But when you look at this business, objectively, why do you see this as a business worth buying?
I pretty much see it as a business worth buying because SaaS businesses are very good. They're typically low effort, low maintenance. If that is the type of business that someone is looking for, it's very different than selling products on e-commerce, for example. So this is very laid back. This is for someone who doesn't want to spend as much time working on something. And again, I haven't really done a whole lot of advertising with the site or marketing in the past. So anyone that may be good at doing advertisements on Facebook or Google or something may find that it really helps boost the site out.
Ryan, thank you so much for taking the time today. I've really enjoyed our conversation.
Yeah, thank you. Me too.
If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe to our channel. And if you want more information, the link will be below the video that will take you to this marketplace listing. If you're watching this on the listing site and want more information, become a depositor today. When you make the deposit, one of our business advisors will be in contact with you. You'll be given everything you need to review this business. Have a great day.